Well, we are now up to steps 13 and beyond. I'm going to take it right up to the end of 13 through 19, as we've already colored our perspectives and site plan and elevation previously in the last video. So now we're going to do the final in Gimp. I'm going to start off. I'm going to go File. I'm going to go New. And it's 11 by 8.5 inches. Advanced options, I want to make sure it's set for 200 DPI. I'm going to hit OK. Now, right off, I'm going to have to resize the window. And you'll notice it came in red. We're going to want to fix that. So where is it now says background, I'm going to change that to canvas. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to grab my paint bucket. It's on white. Make sure it's on white. Bring it way up in the corner. You see all those change to 100. Don't worry about the bottom one. I'm going to dump the paint bucket, and what we now have is an 8.5 by 11, 200 dp dots per inch image. I want to save that. So I'm going to go File, Save. Make sure it goes where I want it to go. In this case, Class 2020 for me. I'm going to name the file. My last name, my first name. Year. Class. Final. Site. Plan. We'll save that. And you can see the names up here. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the colored site plan that I scanned and saved on my computer. File. Open as layers. And here is Class Color Scan JPEG. Color Plan Scan JPEG. So let's go ahead and open that. I'm getting a warning. I'm going to go ahead and convert it to Gimp, built-in whatever. All right, now we've got our site plan in, but we can already see a couple issues. The first being it's going in the wrong direction. So this is the layer. We're in the layer. Tools, Transform Tools, Rotate. And I'm going to type in an angle of -90. Rotate. All right, and now we've brought our image into our 8.5 by 11 sheet. This is our site plan sheet. There it is as a layer. I've rotated it, got it going where I want. Next, what I want to do, oh my goodness. Have I lost my tools again? We're going to go cancel. There's my toolbox. All right, I want to move it. So I'm going to click on the move button. And I'm going to drag it around a little bit, move it up on the page, kind of center it on the page. But I've got a little bit of an issue because I want to put a title on this, and I would typically put the title down here. So what that means is I'm going to have to make this image smaller to give me room for my title. That's simple enough to do. Tools, Transform Tools, Scale. It's selected the layer that I'm in. I want to change this from inches, and I want to change it to percent. Right now it's at 100%. Well, I'm going to try it at 90%, and you want the chain locked. 90, 90. Now, does this give me enough room to fit titles down below? And I think it does. What you want to do right off is write down, and as to why that's a little funky, let's try 90. Oh. Well, I guess that's as close as it's going to get, so I'm going to go ahead and write down 89.99 width W and 90.01 height. And just write that on a scrap of paper because we might be needing that later. Go ahead and hit scale. I'm going to hit my move button, and I'm going to move it again, center it. Now I'm going to have to put a title in the bottom. So how do I do that? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the text icon right there. If you notice, it says text tool. Okay. But I don't want it to be white because that's the color that's been selected. So I'm going to click on that. I want my color, my text, to be black. I'm going to drag it all the way down to the corner. You see all those say 0, hit OK. Okay. Select a font that you like. You can click on the font. I happen to like Century Gothic. There's a whole bunch of choices. It's going to depend on what's in your computer. You can see on the left you get a little picture of what the font looks like. I'm going to stick with Century Gothic because I like that. And for now, it's got a size of 30. Let's bring that up to 40. Okay. Now I'm going to left click and drag a box where I want my title. I'm going to left click in the box, and I should be able to start typing. So I'm going to call this LAND 112 Final Project 2020. And what I'm also going to do, I'm going to go ahead and move over. First thing I want to do is put site plan. So I'm going to type, do it all uppercase, site plan. Now I'm going to return. Oops. Site plan. I'm going to return. So I've got site plan up on top, and down below I'm going to have LAND Final Project 2020. I'm just going to click beyond that, and I'm going to write my name. And I'd like all of you to put your name on your drawings, please. Oops. I don't want that all uppercase. I hit caps lock. Okay, now I'm going to want the site plan to be bigger than this. This text height looks pretty good, but the site plan I want bigger. I left click and behind it, drag it, And I can then change size, and let's try 60. Enter. And notice the word site plan got bigger. That's probably going to be big enough. Now what I want to do is set this up so that the word site plan's in the middle and this stretches out across it. And you can mess around with the labeling if you want to change it. This is how I would do it. So I'm going to click in front of site plan. I'm just going to hit my space key and kind of get that in the middle of the drawing. We can come back and adjust it. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to click down below in front of my name and stretch that out. So it goes about to the end of the road. So it looks kind of like it fits under the drawing. Okay, I'm just going to click on another layer that gets me out of the text layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to go plus. I'm going to call it title stripe. Oh, excuse me. We're going to hit OK. Now, I want to put a stripe under here. It's just kind of an accent for the title. How do I do that? First thing I'm going to do, if you remember our guidelines, bring your cursor up into the ruler, left click, drag it down. Kind of put it in the middle there, right between these two letters. Now I want to select a color for my title stripe. I don't want it to be black. And in my case, I kind of want a red only because I got so much green in this drawing. So I'm pretty happy with that red, but you see I can move it. And if I wanted to be blue, I could click on blue. But I'm going to stick with the reds. And I want it to be, oh, let's do it about there. See, there's the color I selected. That was the old one. Hit OK. To make a line in Gimp, left click on the pencil tool. Okay, I'm going to set the size. Well, that says 18. That seems big to me. But let's try 10 and see how that looks. I bring my cursor down. I hover over the guideline and see it kind of sits on it. I get it kind of where I want it to start, right there. I left click and release immediately. Once I've done that, if you'll notice, I can then left click, oops. Well, fortunately, I've seen a couple things. One, the line's too big, and two, I messed up on the left click. So edit, undo pencil, and then I want to edit again because you can see there's a little dot there. That's where I started it. So edit, undo pencil. Now you saw the dot disappear from the line. Let's try this again. Pencil, left click release. Oh, sorry. We're going to edit, undo pencil. The line was too big. Edit, undo pencil. Dot's gone. I didn't like 10, so I'm going to back that down to 5. Left click, release. Left click, follow the line, and it will stay on the guideline. If you follow it along, I'm holding down the left button till it gets right to where I want it, and then I release, and now I've got a line. I'm going to use my move tool to hover over my guideline, left click, drag it up to the ruler, and it's gone. Now, that line's about as thick as I want it. What I'm going to do, I don't know if it's in quite the right place, and I don't know if site plan's in quite the right place. I actually want to move this title up a bit. So let's click back on our text layer, And notice that the finger goes away. I'm in the move command. I click on move. The finger goes away when I'm actually over the text. If the finger's there, it's not going to work. You're going to move a layer below it. If you get it to where the finger goes away and you just have that cross, you can just left click and slide that up. Let's bring it up to about there. Well, that's fine, except now I got this title stripe right through my text. I don't like that. Easy enough. Left click on the title stripe layer. Move it till the finger goes away. Left click and bring it up to kind of in the middle. I like it right about there. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and hit save just in case I crash. Save. Okay, next thing I want to do is I have to put text on these two symbols. So what I'm going to do, first of all, on the site plan, I know the scale. I look at the drawings in the site plan. It's 0, 10, 20, 40. So let's start on that. I'm going to zoom in. I'll pan down. There's my scale. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And I'm going to put in some text. Again, we're going to see what happens if I do that. There's text. I left click and draw a box where I want to put the text. Let's even make it a little big. Make the box a little big. And there we go. Now, it's at 40 points, which was pretty big, and it's as big as I made the site plan layer. So I'm going to turn this down. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to drop it to about 10. And let's see how that looks. I want to make sure I don't want the color red, so let's change that to black. I'm going to pull that all the way in the corner, hit OK. Now I'm going to start typing. I click in the box, and I'm going to type 0 feet. Well, that's way too small. I can tell that right off. So let's just delete that, delete, delete, and I'm going to change it to 20 pixels. And now I'm going to type 0, oh, I got to click in the box, 0 feet. And that looks about right. Now I'm just going to type in spaces until I get kind of similar there, 10 feet. More spaces, 20 feet. More spaces, 40 feet. Now, if I look at that, the 0 is not really where I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm in the layer. I'm going to use the move command. Make sure that my arrow, see the finger goes away. I'm on top of the text. I'm going to drag that a little to the right and get the 0 lined up right under the 0. Now you'll notice the 10, 20, and 40 don't look so good. Double click on the letter A for the layer that you're in. Come on over and just, oh, excuse me, go back in your text layer. Click in here, left click, and I'm going to delete a space in front of the 10. Now the 10's lined up, and the 20's lined up, and the 40's lined up. So I'm good. I'm just going to click on the title stripe layer, which gets me out of that particular layer. So what I've done there is I've just put dimensions on my scale. Now I want to write reference north for my north arrow. Well, I could do that whole exercise again, but an easier way, because I know I like the size, left click on the layer, duplicate layer. And now I've got 2 layers like that, but if I stay clicked in it, I'm highlighted, I'm going to go over to the move tool. I'm just going to go till the finger goes away. There it is. Left click and hold. Drag that over. And now, if I make sure I'm in the text command, I'm just gonna, if I triple click, 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 it selects all the letters. And if I type, now that they're selected, I can just type reference north and click on another layer. And so now what I've got and maybe it's just me, but boy, that looks a little small to me. And my title stripe looks a little ratty, so we're going to fix that. So this looks a little tiny to me. It's not quite as strong as I'd like it. And reference north isn't quite as strong as I like it in relation to the other letters on there. So let's go ahead. It's going to take a minute, but we're going to make them bigger. I'm going to start with a scale. I'm going to triple click on it. Oh, double click on it, excuse me. It came in. I'm going to go in the box, triple click. 1, 2, 3. Now I've got all of them. I wonder what would happen if I just made that bold. That might do it, but I want it to go up to about, let's go up to 25. Now you see we had a little issue there. 1, it got bigger, and 2, the box, they don't fit in the box anymore. That's okay. I'm going to left click, and I'm going to start deleting these. Get the 10 under the 10 again. Click there. Get the 20 under the 20. Click here. And there comes the 40. Now it's all lined up. And we're doing this at 25, which I think reads better. So now I'm going to do the same thing to reference north. I'm going to triple click in there. I'm going to go ahead and pan over so we can see what we're working on. I'm going to change this to 25. And if it were to go outside of the box, we could make the box bigger. For example, if I drew the box like this, it stacks it up. Left click and grab the box to make it bigger if you need to. There's reference north. It only has to be big enough to cover the letters. Just click on another layer to make that go away. I'm going to zoom out. And that looks pretty good. What I didn't like when I zoomed in was that stripe. Look at my title stripe and look at how ratty that is. And I think I know why that happened. So I want to fix that. So I'm going to start. I like where it is. I just don't like that it's got those jagged edges. And I think I know what my problem was. Okay, I'm going to click into the layer title stripe. I'm going to left click and grab a guideline again because I want it in the same place. I'm going to put it right on top of that line. That looks pretty close. Okay, I'm going to rectangular select. I'm going to select over everything that's in the title stripe layer. I hit enter. And now that just becomes a layer like that. I'm going to go up to edit, clear. Now I just got rid of my old ratty title stripe. I'm going to go select none. Now I want to draw a new one. So I'm going to use the pencil tool again. I'm going to change the color to the red that I liked. That's probably close enough right there. Okay. I'm going to come down here. I'm going to left click on the line. I'm going to hold the shift button down and then left click and just pull. I'm going to go over here. I don't even have to hold. Wait till it sits on the line with my shift button down. Wait till it gets right where I want it. Left click. Now I've got a line, and I'll bet, or I hope, that it's going to look a little better than the old one. I'm going to do the move command, hover over the guideline till it turns red, left click, put it up here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, see how that line looks. Much better. Notice how it's a nice clean line, no jagged edges. However, I don't like the position of it. It's a little bit too close to these letters and too far away from this letter. I want it kind of in the middle. Not a problem. We're in the title stripe layer. We click on move, drag it till the finger goes away, and we'll just left click and bring it up just a little. Okay. Now, for those of you that are struggling with all of this, or you don't want to take it to the next level, you can stop right here and you could export this as a JPEG as it is and turn this in as your final project. So that was, and for those of you that trace the black lines, which I did not do, you've got this and you don't have to do anything more. I'm going to spend the next few minutes doing cleanup on this and importing some lines. And these are kind of advanced techniques that, again, this alone would be perfectly acceptable, just the way it is. Now, other things we could do to this. Let's start with, do I have any background on my imported drawing? Much like when we scanned our tracing paper, we wound up with some background. And the way to look for that, start looking at the corners and see, boy, you know, that's not bad. I wouldn't really mess with it. You know, if I turn off the layer and you can see the white, if you look at just the right angle, you can see that there's a little bit of background right there. Now, I could adjust that. I could do it with curves. I could make sure I'm in the proper layer. I could take my curves, colors, curves, and I could try and just tweak it a little bit. I wouldn't go much more than a half a square. And then make sure you go a half a square up to try and bring it back. Hit OK. And then I would pan around and look and see. It really kind of diminished my grays, but I'm all right with that. So I've got rid of all background just by using curves like we did with the black and white one. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Okay, next what I can do, and this is where I said it's kind of important to keep your black and white drawing available from when you scanned it and pick out the black and white line work. So we're going to hit save, file, save. We're going to go to file, we're going to open. And if you remember when you scanned your site plan, your black and white site plan, and fixed it up in Gimp to make it ready to print, we should have saved that as an XCF file. Site plan, black and white, edit, black and white, XCF. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open that. And this is what I get. Whoops. Let's try and make it a little smaller so it kind of fits in the same window. That's good. All right, now I've got a layer called line work, and I'm going to try something here. I'm going to turn off my canvas layer. So now all I've got is the line work. I'm going to go select all, select all. I'm going to go edit, copy. Now I'm going to click on my drawing that I'm working on tonight. and it should come up. There it is. I can get rid of the curves, cancel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm in the color layer. I'm going to go Edit, Paste As, New Layer. Now we've got all this black and white ink work, but here comes the problem. If you remember, we scaled the original drawing. So this is bigger because I made the other drawing smaller. That's not a problem. Pasted layer over here. I'm going to double click on it, change the name to line work. I'm going to get back in the layer and I'm going to go Tools, Transform Tools, Scale. Remember I told you to write down the number from before. Go to %, and the number was 89.99W. 89.99W. And it was 90.01 height, and this said, let's see if I can change that. I don't know why it does that. 90, we can try 90.01. All right. You know, we're off like 1,000th of a percent or 100th of a percent, which means that it's probably going to be close enough. Let's find out. Hit scale. Now you got this mess of lines all over here. Let's zoom in a little. Okay, let's make sure we're in the line work layer. Click on our move. Make sure the finger goes away. And we're just going to take that and drag it right over the lines of our other drawing. Now, when I'm dragging it, I can get close and I can almost line it up, but it's a little tough to. I'm pretty close there. But when I'm on there and I'm still in the move command and the little finger's gone away, use your up, down, right, left arrow keys. Look what happens. If I tap on it, tap, 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 it moves up. Tap, 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 it moves down. Now let's see how, let's get up and down right. Okay, that looks pretty good. You keep looking to see when the line gets bigger. Oh, there it's bigger. And then go back one. Now let's go right and left. See, it got bigger. I did 3 taps. 1, 2, 3 taps. Another tap. Now it's staying the same. Another tap. Oh, that got bigger. See how it got bigger? Tap, 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 tap. Oh, I'm going to go back 1. Now if you'll notice, my line work is lining up exactly over the other drawing. Now you want to check the sides to see how close it is. Let's look at that tree. And that tree, it looks like it lines up pretty well. That's the top right corner. I'm going to go as far away as I can in the bottom left corner and look at those trees. And those trees line up pretty well. If I zoom out, now when you were doing the other steps, when we first scanned our black and white drawings and I made you save this as a separate layer and do all that black and white work, you might have wondered why. Well, this is why. If you'll notice, when I did my coloring the perspectives, I mean coloring all 3 drawings, I didn't retrace all the black ink work. And that's why it looked like that. And it was kind of gray. Now, if I hit line work, watch what happens. Everything tightens up. And I didn't have to retrace that line work. So it saved me a great deal of time. So right now, we're pretty good. However, I see some glitches in the drawing that I want to clean up. So I'm going to make sure I'm in the color layer. And I'm going to zoom in. See this green? My green got over the edges. I want to get rid of that. And I'm looking for any other splotches. That's the main thing I see, is that green on the edges. I'm not super happy about the color of the lake. You will find that when you scan things, it changes the color. So, you know, I'm going to live with it. It's fine. I could, if I were doing this for a client, I might gimp out that lake. I could actually select the lake and change the color of it, but that's, you don't want to go through all that. and I don't want to show it to you. It's not a class on Gimp, but I will show you a little trick to getting rid of stuff where you've gone outside the lines and you find it distracting. So let's make sure we're in this layer. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn off line work for now, so I just have this color layer where it says the class color site plan scan that I brought in. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to start looking where I thought the most hideous mistakes were. And most of it was this green in through here. I'm going to click on Polygon Free Select Tool, sorry. Left click on it. Now I just click, and I click, and I click. And you know what? I'm going to go over the line a little. I'm going to go kind of on the line. I click, I double click there. I click on that, and then I hit enter. It makes a selection. Edit. Clear. Now you got a couple problems. First of all, it cut the line. If I turned off my canvas layer, you'd see what got cut out. See, I just cut that out of the drawing. But with the white background, it doesn't matter. And if I go select none, see how I kind of clip that line too? Well, that's not any good. Well, let's see what happens. I'm going to do it again. I want to get rid of this green stuff. Click, click. I just want to get rid of the green. I want to keep my gray in there. Again, I'm going to go right on the line, and actually I'll even go over the line a little bit. Enter. Edit. Clear. Again, select none. See, I chopped up that line. You can see where I erased it. That's no good. All right, now let's do it underneath the scale where I got this green coming in. Select, and I don't like that gray under there either, so what I'm going to do, freeform select tool, I'm just going to go kind of all over here. Oh, we're just going crazy. Enter, made my selection, edit, clear. Now the green's gone, but so are some of the lines on the scale. I chopped part of the lines off there. Why is that not a problem? Select none. Because when I turn on my line work layer, all the line work comes back. So even the parts, like for example on the scale where I cut it off here, and here you can see where I chopped it, doesn't matter because it's all in the background. Looking at this, I don't like this line going through my 20. Now that's going to be a little different because that's going to be on 2 layers. We're going to do our polygon tool. This time I want to be careful, and I'm even going to leave a little lump there. I don't want to get rid of the whole line. Enter. I'm in the class layer. Edit, clear. Well, that's good news, but I still see it. What happened? Well, what happened is I erased it from the class sketch, the class color scan layer, but I didn't erase it from the line work layer. But since my selection's still there, I can click into the line work layer and go edit, clear. And now the line's gone away and doesn't stick through my 20. Select none. I'm going to go back in my color scan layer and see if there's more of this. I got a little over there. That's not too hideous. You know what? I'm just going to leave it be. A little spill over there isn't the end of the world. I mean, I could go through and clean up all of this, but it's not that distracting to me. Those big blobs were. All right, so we're going to call that. I mean, I could look around, but I don't see anything that I really feel absolutely compelled to get rid of. It's all looking pretty good, or good enough. And there we go. We're going to save this. File, save. Now, according to the instructions, once you've done that, the next thing you should do is you should save this as a JPEG. So go ahead and export this. If you didn't want to do the advanced stuff at the point a little while ago where I said don't do the advanced stuff, this is where you want to jump back in. You want to go File, save it as your Gimp drawing, hit Save, and then I want to go File, Export, select File Type by extension, JPEG image. The name can stay the same, only now it's a JPEG. The folder's going to be the same. I'm going to hit Export. It's working on doing its magic. I turn the quality up to 100 and I go ahead and hit Export. Now, if you wanted to check, you could go into where you store these things. And there it is, Tenant Peter 20 Final Class JPEG. I double click on it. And there is my JPEG file. And that is what you would turn in for your final project. Now it's just the site plan, but don't worry, we're going to do the other ones and we're going to do them really quick. So your site plan is now done for the final. I'm going to close out of that, and that's what you would submit in Canvas, just like you've been submitting your other drawings. Now we're going to go to Gimp. So we've done the site plan. Now we're up to step 15, which is using 2020 site plan as a starting point, create a new perspective sheet. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as. So we're going to go File, Save As, and I have a chance to change the name. Whereas it was saying Final Site Plan, I want to change it to Final Perspective. Go ahead and hit, go ahead and hit Save. Now if I look up here, it says Final Perspective. I'm going to zoom out a little. I'm at the layer for the class site plan. I'm going to go ahead and turn that layer off. So now I have a blank canvas. I'm going to turn off line work. And I'm actually going to even go as far as selecting line work and deleting the layer, and selecting class color and deleting the layer. You didn't really have to turn them off. You could have just deleted them. File, Open as Layers. Class 2020, which is where it is. I'm looking for Color Perspective Scan. There it is. Open. Once again, I get the cryptic, do you want to save this? Yeah, I always do convert. I don't know why. Old habits die hard. Well, I'm trying to do convert, and I'm hoping, there. Okay, same problem as before, in that the layer right here is rotated wrong. So we go to Tools, Transform Tools, Rotate, and let's type in -90, -90. Hit Rotate. That's not bad. I don't mind the size of it. If anything, I might even want it a little bigger. But there is a couple issues with it. I'm going to go ahead and move it a little. Left click, move. And if you'll notice, I still have those letters for reference north and the 1020 and scale like that. Well, I don't need those on this drawing, and I won't need it on the next drawing. So let's just click on Reference North, the text layer, right-click, delete layer. That went away. 1020, 1020, right-click. I'm going to keep that one there, and I'm just going to turn it off because I am going to need a scale on the perspective, on the elevation. So we're not going to delete that one. So let's check for other issues we might have. I click back into the class color. One, I might want to make the drawing a little bigger. Two, notice I've got some stuff up there. Now, I don't know where that came from. I do know where that came from. It's when I was doing my drawings and I had them all taped on the board. It was overhanging on that. In addition, I might have a little bit of background there, but let's do the simple stuff first. And actually, the first thing I want to do is check and see if the drawing's a little crooked. Boy, I've been getting lucky with my scans. It's really not crooked. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm not going to rotate it at all because I'm pretty happy with it just like it is. All right, but, let's get rid of that. Bring it right up there. It's gone. I do need to get rid of this red gunk up in the top. We know how to do that. Polygon tool. Just click, 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 click. Come over, click. It goes together, hit enter. I got my little marching ants. I'm in my class color layer, and I go edit, clear. Goodbye red spots. Select none. All right, now I do want to make it a tiny bit bigger. I got some other cleanup I might want to do, so actually let's do the cleanup before I enlarge it. So let's zoom in, and I'll tell you where I want to clean up. That bit of blue hanging over my lines. You know what, I'm going to wait on cleanup because I want to get it sized right. I want to bring in my line work, and then I'll do the cleanup afterwards. So let's make this a little bit bigger. Tools, transform tools, scale. Okay. Now I can type in a number, or in this case, I'm just going to drag it until I get it where I like it, which is probably, let's try that. And if I look at percent again, you'll see it's at, write this down, 103.17 by 103.19. See how I got a bunch of white hanging over here? We'll fix that in a minute. Hit scale. All right, I like that. It's a little bigger. It's only a few percent bigger, but it's not quite centered on the sheet. So I'm going to go move. As long as I'm over the drawing, the finger's gone away. And I want to get that kind of centered right over my title, kind of like it was before. I'm good with that. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. File, save. Now, just like last time, what I'm going to do, I'm going to left click on this. Here I had the old black and white drawing for the site plan. Let's just close that. Do you want to save changes? Discard changes. You don't have to save any of the black and white perspective. Because now we're going to go ahead and open up a new drawing. We're going to open up our black and white perspective. Open. Color perspective scan, elevation, site plan, black and white edit. I'm hoping I have a perspective black and white. Perspective black and white camera, perspective black and white. Let's see. Scan black and white perspective. And yeah, we're going to shoot for class perspective black and white. Camera XCF? No, class perspective black and white XCF. I should have written scanned on it. And I did it twice because sometimes I did it. If you remember, my last demonstration showed you how to do this with your camera. I'm going to click on that to open it up, and hopefully, let's see what we got. There it is. And I'm going to make it smaller again. Although I don't really, yeah, I have to because I want to see my menus. So let's make it smaller. Let's turn off the canvas layer, and we've just got the line work. Edit. Excuse me, select all. Edit. Copy. Now I'm going to click back into that by left clicking on the title, and I'm back at my colored version. I keep the layer selected as the color because I want the new layer to be imported right above it. I go edit, paste as, new layer. And here comes my line work. Now once again, we have that problem of it's going to be in this case, and in the last case I made the drawing smaller, in this case I made the drawing bigger, and so the line work is too small. Not by much, but it is too small. Well, how much too small? Remember, we wrote down how much we have to scale it. So we're going to go Tools. Pasted layer. I'm going to go ahead right now and change that. Double click on it. Left click, double left click. I'm going to call that line work. Okay. I'm going to get back in the line work layer. And I'm going to go Tools, Transform Tools, Scale. And the magic number, we're going to do percentage. Sorry, percent. And the magic number was 103.17 for the width. 103.17. And yeah, it's again off by 1/100th of a percent, which is off by 1,000. So we don't have to worry about that. It's close enough. Scale. Now I want to move it, and I'm going to zoom in a little and try and get my lines to line up. Use the move command, make sure I'm in line work, make sure that the finger disappears. The finger's gone. I'll roughly place it by left clicking and dragging it. That's getting close, pretty close. Let's zoom in even a little more. Plus, plus, plus. And let's try and find some lines. I tend to use some of the thinner lines because they'll show me whether I'm off or not. And I look pretty close here, but let's get back in the move command. I hover over it. I then just take my hand off my mouse and tap the up and down. Oh, no, sorry. I want to left click and see that moved it a little. Left click, let's drag it again, try and eyeball it. But now that I've left click into it, if I tap the arrow keys, you'll see it move. Well, that looks pretty close. Watch the line. Smaller, smaller, bigger. You can see the back one coming out. I'm doing up and down. So that looks pretty good. Now if I go left to right, again, I'm seeing those lines get bigger, 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 bigger. About right. See, if I go to the left, it gets bigger. If I go to the right, it gets bigger. 1, 2, 3, got bigger. Back one, got bigger. Back one. So we're pretty much there, right there. I'm going to go ahead and take a look by panning up in a corner. Those lines line up. They're a little off. Let's see how this side looks. Those lines look pretty good. They're all fine. Again, there might be a little variation, but not enough that, no one's going to look at this under a microscope. So now I'm going to zoom out. And all that's really left to do with this, let's go ahead and save it. File, save. I do have a little cleanup to do. I'm going to go in my color layer. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to get rid of some of that blue. Use my freeform tool. I'm going to zoom out a little so I can do more at once. Left click, just follow the line. Left click, go, enter, edit, clear, clear. Oh, there goes the blue. Good, that's what we wanted. Now I'm going to do the top. Same thing, polygon lasso tool, freeform lasso tool, left click, release. We're just going to go right on the line. Left click. I actually could have done more then, but I won't. Enter. Make sure you hit that enter button. Edit. Clear. Oh, let's just keep going. I also see some Grundu over there. Left click release, follow it down the line. Enter, edit, clear. Okay, now I got all that out of the way. There's not a whole lot of spillage on the green, but here's where I always wind up having to do some cleanup. See the trim boards at the roof? The roof always goes over them. So I'm going to zoom in on that, and I'll be doing this with a perspective too. Pan up a little. Polygon tool. Remember, the line work's going to stay, but any of the color underneath it, I'll move over a little. I'm going to do it all at once. Let's see, I got some blue sky in that one. Just as long as I'm under the lines, it's not going to matter. Whoop. Left click release, left click release. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to go up here, do that one, hit enter. Edit. Clear. And my trim is nice and white. I also have a piece of trim here that I completely covered over. Left click release. We'll go there. Enter. Edit. Clear. And there's my nice white trim. Now, I got a bunch of junk here. Here's the problem with looking at it too close. I got a little spillage here. I really don't want to erase that because that's supposed to be beige, and some of it is beige. I missed some color. You can see the white spots in there. I think it'd look worse if I erased it. So I'm just going to leave that alone, and I'm going to zoom out. And we're going to pan around and look and see, is there anything else that horrifies me? Not really. I got a little green slop over here, but it's okay. I am concerned if I look at the line work, it looks to be a little off on those trees. I'm going to click in the line work layer. I'm going to see, make sure I'm on it, click on it. I'm going to see if I can fix that at all without making the rest worse. Nah. Ooh, actually that might be a little better. Let's see how bad I look on the right. Yeah, see I'm a little off on the right. So if I split the difference and just go over 1, 2 maybe, let's left click, 1. Yeah, I'm going to call that about as good as it's going to get. And then we're fine. All right, we're good. We save this. Oh, we don't save it yet because we've got to do the most important part. It is not a site plan. If we click in this layer, which for some reason doesn't say what, oh, I know why it doesn't, it says it way over here. This is my site plan layer, double click in it. Go ahead and double click in the box. Let me zoom out. When I double clicked on it, the box came up. Double click right here. And I'm just gonna delete that and just keep hitting delete. Site plan goes away. So did my return. I'm gonna hit return. That's not good. I'm gonna go Command Z, Command Z. All right, now I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna click here. I'm gonna type uppercase. That's the problem. So I'm gonna go Command Z, Command Z. All right, leave the S there for now. We'll fix that in a minute. Start typing after it. Perspective. Now it's perspective, but now I can go in front of that S and delete it. All right. I don't like that perspective doesn't look centered on the drawing. So I can just go 1, 2, kind of move it over a little. That looks pretty good. Click on another layer. And now we're done with this one. File, save. So I save the Gimp drawing. File, export as, select file type, scroll down to JPEG, JPEG. Ooh. Hang on a minute. I'm scared. Oh, no, that's fine. Make sure you change the name from Final Site Plan to Final Perspective. Oops, I had it in caps lock. I don't want that. Perspective, it's going to save it as a JPEG. Go ahead and hit export. We should get a little message. Sometimes you got to hit export a little harder. Okay, keep it at 100, which it was set to from before. Make sure the quality is at 100. Make sure it's going the right place and hit export. All done. Now we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to do File, Save As, it's not going to be the perspective now, it's going to be the elevation. Save. Make sure it says elevation up top. It's an elevation GIMP file, an XCF file. I'm just going to go ahead and delete the color layer. And I'm going to delete the line work layer. Delete layer. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on our numbered layer. And you're going to see why in a minute. I'm just going to go select none so that little rectangle gets out of there. File, open, find your scanned color elevation, color elevation scan, open. Convert. And there's our colored elevation, which is right here. Oh, I made a mistake. So we're just going to close out of that. I'll try to. Let's see what happens if I hit close. Okay. I didn't want to just open it. What I want to do is go File, Open as Layers. Now we hit on the color elevation scan, Open. Convert. That's better. Excuse me. Now I've got to transform that because it's going up and down. I want it going right to left. Tools, Transform Tools, Rotate. And this time I want to go into the right. So I'm just going to go 90 degrees, not negative 90. Rotate. And there's our, it's not our perspective, it's our elevation. But again, this one's too big. So I'm going to want to make it a little smaller because, well, you know what? Yep, I'm going to make it a little smaller. I don't really like where that scale is, which I can also fix in Gimp, but I don't know if you want to go through all that heartache. So it's probably easier to just scale it. So let's go Tools, Transform Tools, Scale. For now, I'm just going to grab it, left click, drag that around, move it. Let's see how that looks. That's too small. So Edit, Undo. Undo, Move Layer, Edit, Undo, Scale. All right, so let's do this the right way. Tools, Transform Tool, Scale. We're going to set it to %. All right, and I'm just going to do some arbitrary. I'm going to do 80%. See how that comes out. That looks a little small to me. I want this scale to be right about here. So let's try 90% because 80 was too small. I can live with that. So I typed in 90 and what I got for an answer, write this down, 88.99W and 90.01 height. Go ahead and hit scale. Let's use our move tool. All right, put it in the middle. Get it where we like it. That will do. I'm going to raise it a little bit. Give that scale a little more room. Now, I'm going to check and make sure, even after I rotated it, is it straight? Like I said, I've been getting wicked lucky with the scanner. I hope you have the same luck. Of course, I had straightened these when we scanned it before and brought it into a black and white drawing to print so I could color it. All right, so I've got it there. I can see some Grundu issues. The sky is always a problem with these things, but that's okay. It's a loose sky and I like to clean it up. Let's go ahead and bring in the line work. Let's save this. File, save. And you should remember this step from twice before. Open. Oh, black and white elevation. And we want a Gimp file. Site plan, elevation, BW, edit JPEG, color elevation, class perspective. Gotta find it. Well, I don't think I saved it because I don't see a GIMP file for it. Black and white JPEG, perspective. Oh, it would be here. Class elevation BW XCF. There it is. Whew, scared me. Go ahead and hit open. I'm going to come up with this. I'm going to make it a little smaller. Notice I got line work canvas. All right, so we're just going to turn off the canvas. Edit. Excuse me, select all. Edit. Copy. I'm going to click into this drawing. Make sure I'm on the colored layer. Edit. Paste as layer, new layer. Oh, I don't like that. Edit, undo. Where did we go wrong? Undo, paste. I'm going to click back into this. Oh, here's what I did. If you'll notice, even though the layer isn't turned on, I'm in the class this layer. That's not the layer I wanted to be in. I need to be in the line work layer. Select all, edit, copy. Now we should have better luck. We click into this drawing. Might take it a second. Edit, edit, paste as, new layer. That feels better. But again, it's too big because we scaled down the other one. So edit, tools, transform tools, scale. We remember the numbers we'd written down before. We're going to change it to percentage. Percent. And the number was 88.99 wide. 88.99. And at the bottom, I should get 90.01, and I'm getting 89.02. That's quite a difference. Oh, excuse me, the top was supposed to be 88.99. You know what? I'm going to break the chain. We're just going to break the chain and see what happens. 88.99 and 90.01. Scale. See how we did. I'm going to do my move command. It doesn't look right to me. Oh boy, it does actually. Oh, that's dead on. Is it? No, it's off. Okay, undo. Undo move layer. Undo scale. Now we're going to try scale again. We'll do it the right way. Tools, transform tools, scale, percent. Make sure the chain's closed. Percent. You have to left click, hold it, slide up to percent, then release. And it is, let's try 90.01 on the width. 90.01. It's off 3/1000th of an inch. We should be okay. Let's hit scale. Let's move it. Make sure the finger goes away. And line up though, yeah, it's better than before. Yep, that's pretty much there. Make sure the finger's away, and then we can use our arrow. And we can go up with the arrow. I'm using the top lines as a guide. Let's get the building right. So you can see it. I'm using my arrow. Tap, 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 tap. That looks pretty good. Down, tap, tap, tap. That's pretty good. If I go to the left, tap, tap, you can see it start to get darker. I'm looking at the building, tap, 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 tap. Oh, starting to get fuzzy again. What I like about that, it looks to be about right, and if you look at the background stripe, it all looks even. One side isn't blacker than the other. That looks good to me. Let's go ahead and change that where it says pasted layer to line work. Okay, now let's clean up a little Grundu. We're in the color layer. I want to click in there. Zoom in. Again, all the trim I'm going to clean and around the outside, but I'm going to do it in one fell swoop. Click, kind of on the line, on the line, on the line, on the line. Oh, that is the top. Click. Click, right click, oh, excuse me, hit enter, enter, edit, clear. There goes my junk. Okay, now we got any at the bottom? No, we look pretty good. So all it's left to do for me is clear up the trim. So I'm going to do it the same way. Freeform select tool. Left click on a line, left click on a line. Left click on a line. I'm a little off there. Let's come down to here. Don't get angry. Come here. I don't want, see, it's already trying to track to that one. I don't want it to. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Click. Left click, release, left click, release, left click, release. Now we close it. Enter. Edit. Clear. Now we got all the sky and junk out of those lines. Now let's do the bottom one, which doesn't look too bad. No, I can live with that. I don't, no, that's good. I got a little bit of Grundu here. Let's get rid of, this time I can get rid of the red because it's on trim. I don't want to go into the gray down below it. But that's white trim. Enter. Edit. Clear. It looks like we kind of blew over all the trim with gray here. Oh. Enter. Edit. Clear. And I got some trees in this trim, a little green action. Edit. Clear. How's the rest of it look? You know, I said that one was good. I lied. Left click, left click. See, the beauty of having that line work layer is it covers up if you go a little over. Edit. Edit. and clear. Yeah, nice and white. How's that one look? That one's good. Got a little grundu here in the window. My blue spilled over a lot. Enter, edit, clear. I don't know if I can just move that. No, I can't. I'm not even going to try. I got these windows, same thing. I got a couple sides to work with here. Now, if you don't feel like doing this, you don't have to. You know, it wasn't bad before, but I just like showing that. Clear. That window actually came out okay. That one's good enough. I got some, I'm not going to bother getting rid of the beige on it. Okay, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to call that pretty good. Only two things left to do. Fix the scale, because the scale is wrong, and change the title. I'm going to do the title first. That's this layer. I double click. The box comes out. Left click. I'm going to click in front of the P and just type uppercase. I'm going to call it side. Whoa, I don't know how to spell. Side elevation. Do check your spelling or you'll be sad. I think that wants to move over just a smidgen. That looks pretty good right there. Okay, I'm going to click on this next layer. These numbers. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the box bigger for them because I know it's going to be bigger. Second thing I'm going to do is zoom in. I'm going to get the move tool and make sure, oh, sorry, I keep doing that. Make sure that the finger goes away. Finger's gone. Ah, finger's gone. It's tiny, so I have to be right there. Left click. Let's bring the 0 down and put it under 0. Let's just click in here. Oh, I'm still in the move tool. I'll double click this till that box lights up again. And on the elevation, it's not 10, 20, and 40. It is 0, 8, 16, and 32. So just tap it over, keep moving. I'm using the space bar. 8. Click in front of the 20. And click in front of the 40. $32. Click in another layer to get out of that box. We're going to zoom out a little. Just take one last look at it lovingly. I'm going to click on the canvas layer to get rid of those lines. Oh, it's perfect. File, save, file, export as, select by file type, scroll down, JPEG image, final, we're going to change that to elevation. I'm going to take cap lock off, elevation, export, is export so grumpy? There we go. Make sure that's set to 100 and hit export. That's already been saved. If you're scared, you can hit File, Save again. Save. We can close Gimp. I can get rid of these drawings. I'm not making discard changes. Discard changes. I'm just going to close Gimp because I don't need it anymore. Okay, and if you look what I've got in my file, I've got final elevation is an XCF file, final elevation is a JPEG file, final perspective is a JPEG, final perspective is a Gimp file, is an XCF file. Final site plan is a JPEG, final site plan as a Gimp file. I would then turn in those three drawings: class final elevation JPEG, class final perspective JPEG, and class final site plan JPEG. Submit that on Gimp, and you are done with the class.